What has made you lose all respect for someone? Coworker was a single mother of 3. Christmas was around the corner and she was upset. She was trying to figure out how to explain to her kids that Santa missed their house. We all got Christmas bonuses. I gave her mine and said buy your kids presents. She went clubbing with it. Oh, she's broke and poor, and next day on all social media she is at the club, buying drinks for other people, and smoking. Later she's trying to give people the same sob story. It wasn't that Santa didn't have money for presents, it's that Santa would rather go out and party than take care of her own kids. Lost all respect for her. Broke all ties and associations. Warning: gross. Good friend for many years, was always raised spoiled, but he wasn't so bad to be around. The most annoying thing about him though was his inability to admit when something was his fault. One day he called me up saying he desperately needed to talk with me. He kinda opened up and said that some girl was making accusations that he sexually assaulted her at a party when all he got was a blowjob from her. I comforted him cause he seemed really upset. I then talked to some others who were at this party and they mentioned all the stuff he left out of the story. 1. The girl was underage, 15. 2. At the end of the blowjob he held her head down so she had to take his cum in her mouth. 3. Her mother was called to pick her up and when she got there he grabbed her and tried to force her into a bedroom to have sex. 4. 4 guys had to grab him off this girl and hold him back so he couldn't grab her again. To this day I have no idea why the cops weren't called on him. I confronted him with this info and he started bragging about what he did. I distanced myself greatly from him after that. Finding out my best friend since 3rd grade backstabbed me over a girl. He spread a rumor that I was gay to our friends to increase his chances with her. He destroyed years of friendship over a girl I didn't even like and wasn't into him either. A crush I once had slept with a manager to get herself a promotion. Got said promotion, then dumped the manager nearly immediately, then came to me to try and start something between us. It was a solid no. Probably when I found out my bio mom intentionally went out her way to have my dad's kid so he'd stay with her. Apparently she'd tried that with other men but wasn't successful. I was adopted at birth and he married her best friend, so didn't work. I was more astounded she told me this to my face like it was a blessing. Like I should be smiling as much as she was that she used no protection and told my father she couldn't get pregnant so he'd sleep with her. I don't think I'm ever gonna get over that one. I was dating a guy and we had been together for a few weeks at this point but we had never really gone anywhere together. One day we decided to go on a road trip. We stopped to get snacks, as one does on any good road trip, and got back on the road. A few miles in, he is done with his beverage, dude rolls down the window and hucks the cup into the ditch. I couldn't believe it, so I stopped the car and asked him to pick it up. He refused and seemed genuinely confused as to why I was so upset. In that moment I was completely over it and I could never look at him the same way again. We broke up shortly afterward. Found out my dad was in a relationship with a girl half his age. My mom knows, and for some reason is fine with it. What makes it worse is I had to hear from my cousin. Practically my whole family knew except his 13-year-old daughter. He also goes to church every Sunday, and pretends he obeys God and is a perfectly fine human being. He doesn't know that I know. I'm not sure when I should confront him. My new fiancé. Sweet, intelligent, very pretty girl who we were happy to welcome to our family. She goes out one night, some Chad hits on her, takes her to his place, gets to hit it. She apparently felt she was trading up and broke up with new and pursued this guy hard. Her new boy toy uses her for a couple weeks and dumped her. She came back to my new who is still buying crushed and not eating yet. The damage was done. He wanted to get with her but couldn't let himself. She's still calling and trying as she realizes she made the biggest mistake of her life. Terrible. When my grandfather told the court I lied and used calls of me trying to get my feelings out about my dad abusing me and mom for 13 years to try and prove it. The court was for domestic abuse and divorce. The 50-year-old man who leads me on for a year, knowing full well I am a single mother who does not plan to have any more kids. Mine was born with major health issues and I'm 40, and then promptly dumps me because, well, he'd really like to have his own kids and since I'm not into it, we're just not compatible. What the actual fuck? They posted a White Lives Matter post and during the blackout day on Instagram. Then tried to defend himself by saying he didn't really mean it and was just trying to get a reaction. I don't need shitty people like that in my life. Met a couple that seemed nice. The husband wanted to hang out with me, so I obliged. We went to the gym where he proceeded to hit on every single girl that would let him touch them. Then we get back and he was talking to his girl and told her he would hip toss her stupid ass and choke her out on the floor. They both started laughing, but I did not appreciate that joke. I stopped talking to him after that. I broke all ties with one of my siblings, because she is a spoiled manipulative liar, that has got in trouble with so many of my friends, her friends and other siblings because she thinks she can get away with everything. Unfortunately my parents made her that way and now they recognize this as a problem and ask for help from my siblings and me, but don't really do anything or ever did to stop her behavior. She hates me because apparently everything bad in her life is my fault for existing and because I never supported her stupid or dangerous ideas, like getting strangers inside the house, cheating on her boyfriend in turn or going out of the house at 4 a.m. to go to a party after my dad fell asleep. I caught her sneaking out and after I said no and explained her that it's dangerous, we are from Mexico, she threatened me. The reason I lost all respect for her was after the last fight. This has been the biggest fight between us, where after some time she told one of my siblings she will be doing anything to destroy me, doesn't matter if she has to lie to do it and that she can do it because everyone will believe her for being woman, and being the favorite. She knows this since we are very little. A former friend was a trash-ass mother. She too busy running up and down the highway partying and chasing ass. The final straw for me was when she found out her youngest son was being touched by a family friend and still sent her over there. Also her oldest son, 14 at the time, had got the babysitter pregnant. She did nothing, not a thing, to protect her children. The school counselor tried to help but she refused to go to the meetings. It was everybody else that was supposed to fix the problem. She only feed them from the dollar menu at McDonald's. But those kids loved their mom. I did what I could to be a support for all of them. But if being a good mom got in the way of her party life, she wasn't have it. So in spectacular fashion I told her about her trifling existence and sent her on her trash-ass mother. A friend's husband had a German Shepherd that was difficult to manage around strangers and other dogs purely due to a lack of training. When my friend was diagnosed with breast cancer, she was worried that the dog would put her health at risk during her immunosuppression and make it difficult for any visitors. Supposedly the shelter wouldn't take the dog and they never advertised on social media or made any other efforts to see if they could rehome the dog. Instead they put the poor dog down. I wasn't able to take him because I have a rescue that was having medical problems. My friend is in remission and has a new dog.
Not sure if this makes sense, but lost most of my respect for someone, yet we are still friends. Basically, we've known each other since we were like 10. When we got in the 11th grade, most of us 18 around that time, we went to a house party. The host only asked us not to smoke in the house. I'm not a smoker, so I couldn't care less in the beginning and thought everyone would have the common sense to adhere to it, especially since the parents were home. Well, hours passed and two groups started to form. One was formed around a bunch of junkies blazing joints inside the house and wrecking it, and a few of us sleeping or trying to clean stuff up. I have no idea of how the night ended since we got out before dawn, just saw no point in continuing.
There was one girl I know from my youth group who I'm not really friends with to begin with, but I thought maybe I was just too shy to give her a chance. Then she started hitting on my brother. She'd say she went to, I think, New York to visit her online boyfriend. We all live in North Carolina. When my brother called her out on this obvious lie, she would accuse him of being jealous. Then she did the blank ran away and I'm her friend Emily trick. Then she texted me asking if my brother got a new number because he hadn't texted her in a while. I was confused how she got my number cause I specifically told my youth leader not to give her my number. She sorted my number out of a group chat. It's not really lose all respect but more of a I was right about you type of thing. There was a boy who always tried to hang out with me throughout all 3 years in middle school. He was your typical popular jock who was an absolute jerk and thought he was the best at everything. I was known as the girl who legit did not speak unless I had a reason to. So I was the quiet and unpopular girl. So why would someone like him want to hang out with someone like me? Turns out he just wanted to get in my pants. Mind you, we were in 8th grade during this incident. Basically, we were over at his house because it was his sister's birthday and he for some reason invited me. While everyone was outside doing whatever, he wanted me to see what his room looked like. Me being the stupid 14-year-old I was, followed him. We got up the stairs and we talked a bit, and then out of nowhere he kisses me. My instinctive reaction was to push him away. I guess he expected that reaction because he didn't react to it at all. He tried to take my clothes off and I pushed him away and told him to back the FCK off. Then I ran downstairs and outside to my parents. We stayed for about 20 minutes after that, but I felt too awkward to look at him, let alone be near him after that. I told my parents that my stomach hurt just so we could leave. He tried to talk to me at school a few times after that, but he gave up and we've barely spoken since. Never told anyone about this until now, I guess.